Okay, good morning and welcome everyone to Workplace Opportunity Week. This week will involve a series of 21 events over 6 days and finishing on Saturday the 14th of November. My name is Lucy and I'm one of the Enterprise Coordinators at Greater Manchester Combined Authority. Workplace Opportunity Week is part of the wider Meet Your Future campaign. The Meet Your Future workshopping campaign was launched by the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, in April 2019. Meet Your Future offers experiences of the workplace and encounters with employers to young people across Greater Manchester. These experiences are offered in a variety of different business environments to help young people learn about different roles and careers and to gain first-hand experience of the world of work. Thank you for attending the question and answer session today. This week is an opportunity to promote the brilliant workplace opportunities across Greater Manchester and the positive impact they can bring at such a difficult time. We've organised a range of events for all students of all ages, parents, carers and teachers. This event is a question and answer session and you will have the opportunity to hear from 4 different employers who will each give you an overview of their role and an idea of what it's like to work in this organisation during the current climate. There'll be some time today at the end of today's session for question and answer. Please use the chat function to ask any questions that come to mind and we will do our best to answer them. So today you will hear from Harry Flanagan from Fortem, Annabelle and Karen Thompson representing Suez, Charlotte Stoddard from Trafford Council and Louise O'Neill from Whistl. And first of all, I would like to introduce you to our first guest, which is Harry Flanagan.
Morning everyone, welcome to my presentation as part of the Workplace Events Week. If we could just go on to the first slide please. So the company I work for is called Fortem Solutions and we're a responsive repair and maintenance provider. What that means is if you had any issues in your home, we'd send out a plumber, roofer, carpenter and they'd come out and fix that repair for you. We'd have to respond to all sorts of different situations. Some people might just have a leaking tap, some people might have parts of the ceiling falling down. So nature of the work can be quite severe in some cases. As an overall business, we've got 100,000 homes across the UK, right down from the southwest coast, right up to the border of Scotland, that we're responsible for looking after. And in them homes, we do 400,000 repairs a year. So we're quite a big business. And what we have to do is get 10,000 void properties back up to standard, which means if one person who's living in a house moves out of the home, we have to then get that home back up to a livable standard for the next person that's going to live in it. Next slide, please. So just a little bit about me. My name's Harry, as I explained earlier. I'm 22 years old and my current role is as a performance manager. So what I have to do is look after a team of analysts who work with our business and look at any sort of business improvement we can make. I started at my company just over 3 years ago now, after a short time at university where I did civil engineering, which is quite similar to what we do now in terms of construction. But I've changed my degree and I'm now studying business management alongside my job. I joined the award-winning Fortem management trainee scheme just over 3 years ago and since progressed through the business. It really is probably one of the best opportunities you'll ever get in your life, and if anyone wanted to come and do work experience with us and then potentially get on that scheme, I really would recommend that more than anything. Next one please. So my career so far looked a bit like this. So how the trainee scheme works, it's split into 6-month placements. So my first placement when I started was working in commercial, and the job that you'd get at the end of that is as a quantity surveyor. I then moved placements into estimating, which again, the job at the end of that's an estimator, and what they do is they price up any potential work that we might want to undertake as a business, which helps us grow, get more work. Then in September 2018, I moved into a performance management placement, which is the role that I'm in now, but I never thought that it'd look the way it does. And then what I did in March 2019 was work on mobilising a new repair contract that we'd just won in Stockport. So the estimating team had priced up that work and we submitted a bid for it. We won the work and then we had to mobilise it, which means taking over all the repairs for that area, getting involved with new tenants. And that was probably the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life because of how new it was to me, but probably one of the best opportunities I'll ever get. Just next one, please. In September 2019, I returned back to performance management as a placement, and then I began working as a performance analyst for the North. Again, really exciting stuff. I was working with the Stockport team that I'd just been working with previously, but in a different kind of role. What that actually looks like is we monitor the branch's performance on a daily, weekly or monthly basis. And then as soon as any sort of like underperformance or bad things start to occur within a branch, we'll put business improvement plans in place. And we also just create a lot of reports for branch management teams to make their decisions. And then in June this year, in the middle of everything that was going on, work made me aware of a role of the performance manager, which was my old manager's job. It was currently vacant. I'll never be more grateful for what work did for me, and they put me on a structured development plan to bridge any gaps in my current skill set in order to get me ready for the role by September. It was probably quite touch and go whether or not I'd be able to get there by that point, but without their support and help from our workplace, I would have never gotten to it. So in September this year, they did award me that role, and then I oversee that team of performance analysts rather than working as one. And like I said, I genuinely couldn't have achieved this without the help and support of people at Fortem. Couldn't be more grateful to them. So just to summarise all my career so far, it's been 3 years, probably quite short compared to some people, but genuinely learned so much in that time, especially with being on a structured development plan. So just wanted to put a few things on people's radar to take away from today, and that's always ask for help. Even in my new role, I'm constantly learning from my line manager, and there's just so many people around me with a lot more experience than myself. There's people that always know better than yourself. Even if you think you might know a little bit better than them, it's just better off to get that opinion from them, and then you decide what you do with it. The second one is not something that I've always known myself, but I've learned to deal with it, I guess, and that's that it might be embarrassing to ask something you don't know today, but if you do ask, at least you'll know for next time. And if you don't ask, you'll never know. No matter how stupid you do feel asking things sometimes, you're so much better off just finding it out, and then you'll just know for next time. So just get over that little bit of initial fear on your first time asking it, and you'll know forever then, hopefully. My third bit of advice is working hard. It's difficult out in the working world. It really is, but if you find something you love, I don't think working hard is that difficult. And like I said there, I promise you that anyone who works hard will surpass anyone with a natural talent for a role. It's experience, it's skills, it's development. It really is important. And then my final point is just to pick a job you enjoy. When I was younger and in school, I used to think, oh yeah, well, you only work for 35 hours a week. It's not that important. But as I've got older and progressed into my job, I've realised that work is such an important part of your life. You need to be happy. It needs to be the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning. Some of your workplace friends are literally become friends for life. So just make sure that it's something you love, really. And that's it from me. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, good morning everybody. My name's Annabelle and I'm the Contract Director for Suez Recycling and Recovery UK, and I'm based in Bolton in Greater Manchester. If you could just move on to the next slide please, Lucy. So a little bit of background about Suez Recycling and Recovery UK. We're part of a global group. We're headquartered in Paris, and in the UK we employ about 5,000 people. In the Greater Manchester area we service 9 of the Greater Manchester authorities, and we employ about 650 people in this area. So over the course of the year we handle about 10 million tonnes of waste. So that's all types of waste: general waste, recycling waste, waste from household recycling centres, commercial waste, schools waste, all of that. And it's our vision really to develop a society where there is no more waste, where we start looking at waste as a resource and we use waste as a circular economy. So we're not using virgin materials, we're actually using the resources that we've already got. Okay, if you move on to the next slide. So we're a fairly huge employer, and we do quite a lot of activities in the waste sector. So not only do we handle waste, but we also generate electricity at our energy from waste plants. We have 26,000 plus customers. We've got a lot of local authority contracts. That's either collection or handling the waste. So a few facts and figures there for you. I'll not bore you with them all. If we move on to the next slide, I can show you sort of the breadth of the employment opportunities that we've got within our organisation. So locally in Greater Manchester, we've got a number of roles on the operational side. So that will be working on the operational sites that we've got, so transfer stations, materials recycling facilities, we've got energy from waste plants, household waste recycling centres, that kind of thing. The entry for those are no particular qualifications at operative level. Obviously through that you can work up to supervisor and management level, which will require some kind of training. We can usually do that on the job. We do have apprenticeships as well for the operations level, so we do advertise those locally, and we have a number every year. They're all sort of site-based around Greater Manchester, so again keep an eye out for those. They're advertised on our website or in the local press. We've also got, to support that, the maintenance and tech teams, so we can have operational people looking at mechanical and electrical maintenance, and then very specific stuff into energy from waste plants and the materials recycling facilities. Again, apprenticeships for those at the entry level, and we'll also have technical and professional qualifications as you progress up through those teams. They can be either site-based in Greater Manchester, regionally in the northern region, or nationally. Some of that is even international given the scope of Suez. We've got another role in transport, so we've got a lot of drivers, and again that's a vocational qualification in respect of HGV CPC. And then, as with any large organisation, we've got a lot of business support roles as well, admin, management accounts, financial analysts, those kinds of things. And again, some apprenticeships for those at entry level, and then progressing up with professional qualifications. So you can see it's quite broad in what we do, and you can imagine that we're a kind of self-sustained company, so we have everything in-house, from legal to commercial to traders and all of those things. So they might be something that you progress to either through professional apprenticeships or through university qualifications. So moving on through the slides. A little bit about me. So I've come from a kind of academic background. I've got GCSEs, well it was O-levels when I did them, A-levels in English, French and German, and I've got a law degree as well. That also I did a bit of French. Before I worked for Suez, I did some academic research. I worked for an environmental charity, and I worked in sales, and then I had a career break to have a family, and then I joined Suez. So I've been with Suez quite a long time now, and what I found is from my previous career and in my current roles in Suez, everything sort of come to a kind of perfect conclusion, if you like, in that all my previous experiences suit what I do now. So I work for a French company, so I do use my languages on occasion. My waste sales has given me some really good commercial insights, and I now work with environmental charities as part of the role that we've got. So moving through Suez, I started as a business assistant, which was really quite a junior administrative post. Then, because of my background in kind of legal and academic stuff, I went into the compliance role. That means I looked at the environmental permits to make sure the sites were compliant with all the environmental legislation that they have to work to. And then from that, I developed into the regional manager role and the contract manager role, which is pretty diverse, and it's a general management position really. So if we move on to the next slide, I can show you kind of what I do day to day. So my overall responsibility is managing the Greater Manchester waste contracts. That's 1.1 million tonnes of waste, which is quite considerable. It's making sure we've got the right home for the right wastes, and all of the commercial aspects associated with that. I manage a team of about 640 people who work across the sites. I have health and safety responsibility for those people and welfare responsibility for them. I also do the contract management for Greater Manchester, so that's dealing with all of the Manchester authorities to ensure we're compliant with the contract and all the environmental responsibilities, all of that. Financial management and reporting is a huge element of my role. Contracts worth somewhere in the region of £85 million a year. I still have an environmental compliance brief. And customer service is critical, not only to the Greater Manchester Authority, who are my primary customer, but also to the residents of Greater Manchester as well, who have an invested interest in the waste that we handle. Also looking at innovation and how the industry is developing and where legislation is driving us is really critical to us. So in short, every day is different and I love it. So the things that motivate me are really linked to what drives my company as well. So we have a set of core values. So if we move to the next slide, we can see what our core values are. So passion for the environment is what really motivates me, and it's something I've been interested in really from my teenage years onwards, and it's kind of been part of my career. And I'm really lucky that the Suez values match my own personal values and also align with what we're trying to offer our customers as well. So customer first is really important. I love delivering great service to a customer, understanding what makes them tick to make sure we've got a strong relationship and the contract works well. Team spirit is also really critical, because that means you know, I work with a great group of people, and I have done really ever since I've worked at Suez. You know, people who work with me, the people I work for, we're all aligned in what we're trying to achieve. And respect, I think we work with a very diverse group of people, and we all respect each other's, you know, personal opinions and how we deliver our workload. So moving on, I think I'll introduce you to Karen, who works in the team at Greater Manchester delivering social value.
Hi, good morning everybody. My name is Karen Thompson and I am the Partnership and Social Value Coordinator at Suez for Greater Manchester. Next slide please, Lucy. Thank you. So just to start with my career history, I did GCSEs and A-levels and then a business and French degree. After graduating, I first worked in export sales, so I could use my business experience, and also I could use my French because we were working with an African company. After about 3 years working for that company, I decided that I wanted to do something which would have more of an impact on society. So I moved to London to work as a fundraiser for a disability charity, Scope, which some of you may know from the shops that they have, and the children's charity UNICEF. Whilst I was working there full time, I decided to study development studies 2 evenings a week, where I could learn about how countries actually reduce poverty. This set me off onto a path overseas. I actually moved to Spain for 4 years and worked as a project coordinator for World in Harmony,